Welcome to Self-Love to Attract Love expert interview series, supporting you to cultivate self-love, worthiness, and confidence so you can attract the relationship of your dreams. I'm your host, MaryJane of TLC, the Love Coach, and the creator of the No More Nice Gal movement. And joining me today is Antiqua Lisha, the visibility coach and co-founder and CEO of Your Own Universtiy. She is a business coach for superstar coaches, trainers, and teachers that are ready to create and market and launch an empowering vision into the world. She is a former ERYT 500 yoga teacher, sports nutritionalist, trauma transformer, and cosmetologist. Sorry. And what I love about Antiqua is that she's really blended her love for like healthy living and beauty and intuition and all her jazzy awesomeness, which you will totally check out today, to empower women to really step boldly into achieving their dreams. And her talk today is about how to overcome self-judgment in 6 steps so that you can stop playing small and take back your power. Welcome, Antiqua.
Hi, thank you so much, MaryJane, for having me. It's great to be here. Welcome, and thank you, everybody, for being here. This is a great summit, and I'm so excited to share.
Well, I know that you have just a wealth of, first of all, energy and enthusiasm and awesomeness, but also a lot of a depth of wisdom, and really comes from a heart-centered place and from also experiencing some hard knocks in your own life. So I guess I want to start with you really sharing with us your journey to into self-love and to really overcome like abuse and self-hatred and all that I'm not good enough stuff.
Yeah, awesome. It has totally been a journey, and my journey into self-hatred was through a tumultuous childhood of sexual abuse and being spanked on a very regular basis with belts and stuff like that. And I just really felt worthless, and I also felt like a piece of meat. So going into, although that situation left when I was 13, I turned my abusers in. I went into my teens just rebelling against myself, really wanting to fit in. I kind of, I was the girl, I was the pom, I was on National Honor Society. I was a smart girl at the same time. I was the girl in the corner, like smoking cigarettes and doing drugs and partying all night. And so I was very much a chameleon, and I didn't have any personal identity at all. And when you don't have a personal identity, then you don't really love yourself. You're just jumping around, and I didn't know who I was. And luckily, when I was 21, I got cancer, and it just made me stop. Like, I really had to stop and put my health first. And I was already teaching aerobics and teaching yoga at that time, and I was a cosmetologist, so I was really into beauty and looks and everything. That's how I chose to pay for college. And I was raised with a green mother, so I just the Camtasia quit working. I just absolutely loved that I had this wealth of knowledge to put into action when I had to get healthy. And so I went to a naturopath, and it was a really strenuous year of treatments and vegan eating and discovering I had celiac disease. I didn't know what that meant for 10 years, but that's a story we'll get into in a second. But I started getting healthy and started to take my power back, and I started looking at the abuse and the effects and how it co-caused the cancer and the self-hatred in my body and how it was manifesting in my body. And at 24, jump ahead a couple years, I couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, and I gained about 20 pounds in 2 weeks, and my adrenals failed, my thyroid failed, my pancreas quit working. Basically, my pituitary gland, the gland in your head that runs the whole show, was dead because when I was 11, I had this extremely traumatic experience. And I was in fight or flight, and then the cancer and everything. So I was just basically the walking dead at 24.
Wow.
And I dove into yoga, I dove into self-care again, and just really started taking care of myself on another level. And I started teaching people what I was doing as I started getting healthier and sharing those insights. And at 33, finally figured out what celiac actually is, because then a doctor knew when he read my chart, and he looked at my daughter and said, "Oh, you all just have celiac disease." You already knew this. And so I went ahead and took matters in my own hands again, really followed God, followed the intuition to do well with myself, and said, all right, I'm alive, I can practice, I can do this. Uh-oh.
Now it's
so great. There you go.
That's what I did.
No, I don't know.
We'll edit this part out into
Are you hearing this?
Yeah, totally.
I can't turn this off.
What happened at the end of my call? The last person was like, all of a sudden it was like I could hear her and the whole video was replaying, and I'm like, what is happening?
Oh.
It's too funny.
I'm deep into my story, though. Should I just keep going?
Yeah. Did you manage to turn it off now? Because I don't hear anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I managed to turn it off.
We can just edit that part out, so no worries. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah. So you said talking about like in your 30s and taking back your power.
Yeah. Yeah. So in my 30s, I was 33. We found somebody read my chart and he said, "Oh, you have celiac disease. That's why you're depressed. You know, it probably affects you biochemically," and it did my 3-year-old too. And so we went home and quit eating wheat and gluten completely, and 8 years ago, when it was like, and all the tools that I had learned from studying with wonderful people like Carolyn Mace and Bikram and Rajashri and Iyengar and multitudes of coaches that live in Boulder, Colorado, all of it just clicked, and I started to learn how to love myself. So if you're not in a place, my point of all this is, if you're not in a place of health and well-being and already caring for yourself, it's going to be really hard to move into self-love, because the action of taking care of yourself is the first part of having a nurturing relationship with yourself. But once that happened for me, and hopefully you won't have to go through cancer and some shocks like I did to get it to happen for you, but once that happened for me, it was really quickly that I began to develop my Divine in 9 course with my clients, because I had quite a few yoga students by that time, and started developing the 6 levels, the 6 ways of really falling in love with yourself that we're going to talk about today. And one by one, I went through those levels and just cleaned house and did some of the tips and some of the things that we're going to do today, and that I'll share further with you if you want, and just really, really started manifesting on every level the body that I love to live in. I'm comfortable in my skin. I started controlling my own thoughts rather than having them control me. My thoughts started to control my emotions rather than my emotions bombarding me left and right, and that was a harder one to learn. But I started clearing that energy field, and people started going, "Wow, what are you doing? You look so young." I mean, I look hotter now than I did when I was 20. Totally. I'm just better. I started showing up in my relationships as me rather than as who I thought or perceived my husband or my ex-husband now, or different people wanting me to be. And some people had to move out, like my ex-husband had to leave because he no longer, he needed me to be a victim or needing to be fixed or needing to be healed, because he's an absolute hero. And I was done. I was already healed, and now I have attracted into my life a man that absolutely sees me, that sees himself, that puts God first, and you know, we'll make a video today of like the mountain range behind him and in the middle of nowhere on his way 3 hours away from us, and saying, you know, like, this is beautiful to drive through, but you're even more beautiful, baby. Into Facebook, you know, the whole world. And that's something, that amount of love I couldn't have received. If a man had given me that amount of love a couple years ago, I would have freaked out and been scared I'd lose it, or it meant something, you know, and it's just like this receiving and receptivity that I have now. I mean, down to the elusive multiple orgasm. That's how great my relationships are. And my girlfriend's the same thing. And then in business, I mean, look at me. Like, I'm doing this. I have 5 books. I have my dream CD out. I have my vision board up. Business is booming. Business is beautiful.
You're singing.
I'm doing it, you know. And it's all divinely connected. It's all divinely gone through. So we just did a rundown of those 6 topics we're going to talk about today. But but I remember waking up in January, and the beginning of January this year, and going through my meditation that I do every day. And you know, usually there was something to clean up. There was something that I needed to work on. There was something that I was still getting insight about, something that I wanted to upgrade, something that I didn't quite like yet. I hadn't made peace with that part of me. I didn't love it completely in one or all of those areas, depending on what timeline we're in. And this January I woke up, and I remember the first day that every area, it was nothing. It was like, oh, I just love it. Everything is great. Like, there's nothing. And I thought, if this lasts a day, I'm going to be so happy. And now we're in the middle of March, and it's every day. And I'm like, whoa, this is weird. Like, I can get used to this, and it's becoming my new normal. You know, when you upgrade something, and then it's like, oh,
normal. Your happy quota goes up. The bottom.
Right. Like, right. Yeah, it's becoming normal. Where, like, it's very clear when I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have this wealth story to transform, and you know, like, I've accepted my body for a few years, but it was like, I don't have any bad relationships. My marriage was like that forever, you know. The divorce went through, the thing went through, and it was like, oh wow, yes. Look, I'm living. I'm here.
And what's amazing, Antiqua, is a lot of people like see where you are now and not know your story, and not know the challenges and the effort and the work and the consciousness and the awareness and the self-love that you invested to create that foundation so that you could build from that. And I think what's so encouraging is that other people can really see, you know, if that's possible for her, it's also possible for me. And, you know, here, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to tap into my inner strength and intuition and inner guidance systems so that I can begin to wake up every day with that new normal, right? That's like really uplifting, really amazing. And there is nothing to let go of or transform, because it really has been resolved, and it's really just being in that state of joy.
Yeah. And I mean, I remember 3 years ago, or maybe it was even 4 years, probably 4 years ago, that I woke up and I was like, I remember sitting up in bed going, I have no idea what love is. Like, no idea. Like, Lord, how could I possibly love? Like, what does it even look like? And I had been, you know, praying for years by that time, saying my mantra, you know, Jesus Christ, God and Savior, love through me and never cease. Like, let me be love. Show me what love is. I'd been praying for years, trying to be loving to my students and loving to my kids and loving to my husband and loving myself. And finally, that realization of I have no idea, and letting go of all that definition and allowing love to start defining itself was like another pivotal point that just like flashed in my mind. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to tell him that. But, you know, so it's not about getting it right. It's about doing it anyway.
Love that. So we can let go of perfectionism, because it can be a stopping point. And you know, what I hear over and over again with, you know, everybody, and I know is the truth of any transformational practice, is that when we come into that place of self-acceptance, you know, and love every single part of us, good or bad, right or wrong, perfect or imperfect, like whatever judgment we want to put on it, because really it's all perfect, it's all divine perfection. But if we can love every single part of us, that's when the real transformation comes. And I really hear from you, like your part of your breakthrough in our conversation today is how can we let go of the self-judgment that is stopping us from being in that state of pure self-acceptance, or acceptance of our past, or acceptance of our mistakes, or whatever it is. So where do we begin? Yeah.
Well, like a baby, I think that the easiest place to begin in acceptance is exploration. And so like an infant just starts exploring their surroundings, and it's like the spatial surrounding. Where am I in space? And so since you know that you have a body as an adult, the body is a really easy place for us to start exploring who we are and where we are in space. I think it's one of the tougher things to just fall in love with. If you have a hate relationship with your body, I will tell you, like, don't even go there. Like, don't try to start going, oh, I love my body, oh, you're so beautiful. I mean, you could talk to it all you want, but I think that creates a lot of beating yourself up more. But just like, who am I? It's more of like, who am I? Where am I in space? Lifting weights or walking or anything. And then the major transformation starts happening when you start directing your own thoughts. So, you have this body, this is beautiful, you're going to fall in love with this body, but what's going to lead you to fall in love with this body isn't the body itself. I've worked with tons of women who have gone through bulimia and anorexia after abuse and trauma, and that they could control that. So they go into workout mode, they go into diet mode, they go into fix-it mode with their food and their diet, and it just propels this same story, no matter how thin they are, or no matter how fat they are. And so to really love your body, it's about the mind, and it's about your vibe. And your vibe is that emotion, when your best friend walks into the room, you know how she's feeling. You're like, ooh, man, she's had a bad day. Or, oh, God, she's cool, like, we're going to have fun tonight. Like, you don't have to talk to one another. Well, you have that same thing going on with you, and she can feel it. So how do you get that to this place of light where you're really resonating where you want to be, rather than letting circumstance, whether it's pulling the past into the present, or just the road rage kind of circumstance happen in your life. And so I'm going to talk about those three pieces kind of together as a unit really fast, and what you do about it. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to commit to yourself. You get the choice to commit to yourself to accept yourself where you're at. So instead of fixing where you're at, or wondering what would it have been like if that didn't happen, or if this was different, or he felt that way, or she felt this way, running a different story, just accepting where you're at. And that's a huge commitment. So what that means is you're going to start listening and watching for your mind running these wild and amazing stories that we tell ourselves, and get to know your stories. And once you know your stories, you can go, oh, that's another one of those stories. Okay, stop. What do I really want? And so a really powerful question about your thoughts is, how would you speak to yourself as your biggest fan, as your best friend? And write down, literally take out a journal and write down, grab your pen and write yourself a love note. How would you talk to yourself if you were that way? And start getting a really clear picture. What would you tell yourself? You deserve to be a millionaire. You deserve to travel the world. You deserve to have your dreams come true. You deserve to have a man that loves and adores you. I think that you're amazing. I love you so much. You're really precious to me. It makes me feel so good when you pay attention to me. It makes me feel so good when we have quality time together. And then go and read all of that in the mirror. And look at yourself. And give yourself that attention. One thing in my Divine in 9 course that I walk people through is walking up to the mirror in live classes, like we did it, and it was like the most traumatic thing. You'd think if people were dying. But you walk up to the mirror and you just say, I love you and you're worth my attention. That simple. Hardest thing to say. If you just wake up and you say, I love you and you're worth my attention, and you start paying attention to yourself, the world will pay attention to you. However you want it to. And then to take power over the vibe, I'm learning more and more, and quantum physics is proving that the mind controls the emotions in reality. So the mind will rerun a story, and then the body will follow suit and feel the emotion. So if you think about how angry you are at Joe, okay, because he stole your cookie at lunch, then your body's going to get angry the more you think about that and replay that scenario. So in order to get out of the scenario, you have to train your mind not to go down the rabbit hole and think about Joe stealing your cookie. And so by watching your story and how you think, you're going to be able to control this. But after you do that long enough, the body comes up with emotions and comes in with triggers, and that triggers the mind, and we start kind of playing backwards. And then we're literally aging. Okay, it ages us. You get older. So to get your wheel going forwards again and to get younger, stop aging and getting worn down, what you do is you start to really think the thoughts that are going to fuel the emotions that you want to think. So if you're worried about money all the time, you're not going to attract more money, you're going to attract more worry. So how do you want to feel? And so you start thinking and playing the story and the visualization of what you want. You know, what would it feel like if you were making 5K, 10K, 20K a month? What would it feel like if you had all the clients that you wanted in the world, or you had the job of your dreams? What does that feel like? And start just playing make-believe like kids do, you know?
Yeah, and feeling the feelings of what you want instead of what you don't want or think that you're limited by.
Yeah, and the best way to do this is to make a mixtape. Okay, I know there's no more tapes, but you know, make a mix on your iPod with inspiring songs that make you feel the way that you want to feel. So at lunchtime, I want to be a billionaire, so bad. Okay, I'm not going to say that word on here. But I have the real version because I like that word. But you know, and I literally get up and I like dance and I give thanks for, you know, my rockin' clients that are literally changing the world and falling in love with themselves, and I'm like, yes. And I give thanks for that amount of money coming in that I can give out like he does in the song, and I party. And I do that with, you know, joy. I do that with love, like the love songs. You know, I get into it. I get into it with different artists. I have my travel song. You know, I have this mixtape. And what really brought that together was my Divine in 9 class. I have a week 5 is all about emotion. And when you've been struck with trauma, a lot of times we shut down our emotions and we kind of go numb. And so it's about learning how to feel in a safe container. So if you have that issue and you're like, ooh, but if I get really happy, I'm probably going to have to get really mad too. And you don't know how to express that mad, that anger, that sad. You know, there's some great, if you've gone through rape, I'm just going to speak to my audience for a second here, but if you've gone through that, there are some great songs, you know, by really popular artists. Beyonce has some songs, Madonna has some songs, Pink has some songs. I mean, Christina Aguilera has some songs, Oh Mother, Oh Father, oh, you know. So Google and iTunes those songs that bring up those feelings where they're really getting into like that anger and that jealousy and that rage and that oomph, and give yourself a safe container and let yourself dance it out, move it out, because it gets it into the physical, it gets it out. You don't have to attach to your story, so you're not living up your thing, but you can express it completely. And let yourself do that 3, 4, 5 times. And it's called Wave. I have 100 times, yeah. I have videos of different songs doing different emotions, you know, all the negative emotions too. And then we work into the positive emotions, and those are on my YouTube channel. So just, I think it might be Twist Yoga. It might be pretty old. My YouTube channel might be, yeah, YouTube Twist Yoga. I think
Because I think you're speaking to the fact, like, the story and the thinking and the reacting to keep us locked in that story, keep us locked in that past and that limitation. And I love how you're saying, here's the safe container that you can purge it, you can let it go, you can express it, and then you don't have to carry it anymore.
Right, because you have to express it. You need to accept it. Yeah, it's that acceptance. And when you can accept, oh, I had this piece about me that was angry that that happened, or angry that she did this, or whatever. You know, there's girlfriend anger songs. There's you know, but it's somebody else is singing. You can like get into it. You can go for it. You know, and you just let yourself do it until you're literally like it's out. Then you're free.
Yeah.
And that freedom literally cleans house of your vibration. And then it's easier and easier and easier to direct your thoughts to the positive emotions. And I think music is that universal language that is super, super easy. So that's, you know, that's the way to do it. And as you do those things, you're going to fall in love with your body. You're going to fall in love with your skin. You're going to want to drink the lemon water in the morning and you know, do all of the things that are healthy and eat the organic food, because we all know what we're supposed to do. And so what's the point in beating yourself up for not doing it? Just allow yourself to be where you are and direct your thoughts to be where you want to go, and have faith that you're going to walk there. And as you go, find that safe container of allowing the emotion, the vibe, the energy, the blah, 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 to leave without having to go and like dig in the dirt and get in the mud, because we've already been there. You already survived. You already did it. So that's one: body, mind, your vibe.
Right.
And then we get into more of the external, internal things, and those major questions for the other four, so we're on number 4 now, is your relationships. And so often we're like, oh, who do they want? What do they need? How can we serve? Oh, what is she like? Oh, I want to be accepted, so I'm going to be like them. And we get into this external relationship thing, thinking about the other. And there's no greater gift that anybody has given me than to be present in themselves.
Fully, authentically, no pleasing, no giving, no overdoing, no chameleon, adapting, accommodating, but to be in truth about who you are and just let it out there.
Yeah, because when they're there, they're not thinking about themselves. You don't have to think about who you are or what you do or how you're doing it. If you just know who you are, then you can truly be there for the other person. If you're thinking, what does the other person need? What you're thinking about, really, when you're trying to be this giving, like, awesome, I'll do it all, what we're doing is we're focusing on ourselves and how we're going to act and what we're going to do. So I stopped showing up as, you know, the chameleon. It had to come down to, like, what kind of underwear do I want to wear? I mean, it got that simple. Like, what do I like? You know, what do I like? And what do I like about me? So it was like building blocks. And how do I want to appear to the outside world? You know, am I dangly earrings or am I not dangly earrings? Am I makeup girl or am I not makeup girl? I live in Alaska and I love stilettos and girly clothes, and I stand out like a sore thumb. And the closer to my boyfriend I get in the interior, the more I stand out, because they're like sweatshirts and and you know, big boots. So, but that was me, and I was like, well, this is how I feel powerful. This is how I take my power back and feel beautiful. And then how do I want to show up in my relationships to my girls? How do I want to show up to in my relationship to my ex? How do I want to show up in a relationship to my girlfriends? What kind of girlfriends do I want? You know, where do I not overshare? Because I'm an open book. How do I not do that with people that aren't present, you know, and want me to fit into a container and are going to judge me? You know, how do I just let them be who they are and not prove anymore? And some of this I'm still learning how I do that, but I know that I'm not going to waver for somebody else anymore. Not from a place of like, I'm not wavering, I'm who I am. you know, like that kind of thing. You can take it or leave it. I don't care. Well, I was like, yeah, you do. You totally care. You know, this is from a place of, I know who I am. I know my values. I know my morals. I know who I want to show up as and how I want to serve in the world. And I am unwaveringly going to do that. Not for you, but for me. And because of that, I can fully show up for MaryJane here. I can fully write. I can fully be present with my clients and allow them that exact same, and you and everybody listening, that exact same right. Like, I'm not going to take your personality and try to make it me. You know?
And that's part of that complete self-acceptance, is that we can just embrace all of who we are, and we can make a conscious decision how we want to show up, but it's not a mask, and it's not it doesn't have a hidden agenda or an intention, and therefore it's not self-conscious, right? Because we're not going, gee, who do I have to be? How do I have to show up in order to get my needs met? It's, hey, I'm filled here, and I've got a fullness to me, and I'm just showing up as me, and I'm doing that 100%. And you get to be you too, and that's cool. So there's such a permission in that, and openness and acceptance.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's, I'm not the judge. Yeah. And if I don't like something about myself, and it comes up, and it does sometimes, I mean, I catch myself doing things to this day, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's a bad habit. How have I missed that for the last 40 years? Okay, well, thank goodness we can change that, you know? And I take my power back, and I choose to change me. But, you know, it's just like, you can't change other people. The only person you can change is yourself. And if you're changing for all these other people, you're not even being yourself. So figure out who you are, ask those powerful questions. Who am I? How do I want to show up? What do I believe?
What do I want?
What do I want? And then do it. And again, get out that journal, you know, and look at also what you love about yourself, and be like, oh yeah, I'm rocking it there. I'm rocking it there. And start trusting yourself. So that practice really builds the self-trust. And the self-trust is what you really take into the next part, and that's your purpose. That's how you're showing up in the world in business, how you're leaving your impact. And so it might be a way that you make money. It might be a way that you just simply express yourself. You know, some people just work for money, and they live out their purpose in another way. And other people's purpose is how they make their money, you know? And some people's purpose is a stay-at-home mom, and they don't make money, you know? But that's definitely their purpose. And so, but owning your purpose and really loving where you are, and knowing that, for me anyway, and for most all of my friends, what you're going to do changes in the stages of life. You know, in college, if you would ask me, what do you do? I'd be like, I'm a singer, and I'm a cosmetologist, and a student, you know, because what I did was who I was. Now who I am is I'm Antiqua Lisha. You know, I'm a rock star. Like, that's immediately what comes to mind. I'm not literally a rock star, though. I'm not getting paid to rock out music. But that's how I'd explain myself. Somebody just says, so, you know, how are you? If they ask, what do I do for a living? I'll say, I'm a transformational coach. You know, I'm a visibility coach. I help people see them, and then I help them be seen in the world through their programs and products and stuff. And I do that development piece because I believe in our message as people. I believe our life has a purpose, and I believe some of us are called to call upon that purpose, like I am, and turn it into this inspiration, like you are doing now too, MaryJane. So it's, but everybody, whether that's the calling as part of your piece or not, we're here to see ourselves. We're here to love ourselves. We're here to be ourselves. And so you have talents, you have gifts, you have a calling that is pulling your heartstrings. And I believe no matter what, if you're a painter working 9 to 5 selling mortgage loans, and you know that you need to be painting, and you're not painting, you're sick. Like, you're physically ill, you're depressed, and I guarantee it. And if this is you and I'm speaking to you right now, like, you are. So do you have to paint all day every day? No, but you need to paint 15 minutes a day. If you're a writer and you're, bagging groceries or something, then you need to write. And who cares what? And who cares if it's just to yourself? If you are meant to be, drilling pipeline and building a house or something like that, and you have this call to do engineering or do something, and your parents said you have to be a lawyer, and so you went and did that. Well, build a chair in your garage, build a model home, go build a bridge station, those little playthings. I don't know, but we need to express that. And once you do, like for me, singing is something I don't do. Well, I got paid $100 last night, but I wouldn't call that a living. But I have gigs, but it's once a month, and it's a total fun thing, and it's not how I make my money. But if I know when I'm not singing, it's just sucky. And so I have to sing every day, and when I do remember just to sing, even to the radio, just to get it out, to express myself, life literally gets easier and gets better. And that's one of my callings. The other is speaking and doing exactly what we're doing here. I am blessed to know that my calling and my job go together. So living out your purpose and asking yourself, well, what is my purpose? And knowing that your purpose is going to organically change. I never in a million years would have thought 10, 15 years ago that I would be an author, or that I would be coaching people all over the world around seeing themselves. I thought, if I have a good yoga program, I'm going to be, that's what I wanted. I never would have guessed. So my purpose, my business purpose, has shifted in its direction with the same goals, and yours will too. So whatever's called,
right? You've evolved, and
right,
your own self. So of course the expression of who you are in the world is going to evolve.
Mm-hmm. So wherever you are now, again, back to the very first point, accept where you are. Go, what's my purpose right now? And know that purpose isn't something that you have to marry. That purpose is a seed, or maybe it's a bud on a seed, maybe it's just the beginning crest of the flower head, who knows? Or maybe it's wintertime and your purpose was totally crushed and is dead right now, and it's going to have to rebloom. And no matter what stage of your purpose you're at, because that happens too, just accept where you're at and follow your passion. Follow what lights you up, what raises your vibration, your energy level, like the dancing does for your vibration, and just follow your heart.
And those things that make us feel good, and that you're just expressing who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I think people think purpose is this big, huge pie in the sky kind of thing, and definitely we associate purpose with job in North America and Western thinking. But it really is, like you said, it's just being in this state of expressing who you are in that moment, where you are, however you can do it, and making it really simple and accessible, and not thinking, so it's amazing, because I find that women I've met some extraordinary women who are not necessarily extraordinary on paper. Does that make sense? They don't have all the credentials or all the lists or all the whatever, but I look at them and they embody the toughest purpose on the planet, which is to love yourself and to love others deeply, consciously and unconditionally, and they embody the truth of that through their kindness, through their compassion, through their listening, and their presence is so powerful that it's transformational in itself. And it seems like such a simple thing, but that is the hardest thing in the world to do. And I can bet you those women are not getting awards, but they deserve to.
Yeah. But their presence, when I'm in a friend's presence like that, it's just so relaxing. and they're owning their purpose. They don't have to make it some big defining something, and it's not something that you can get on paper. It's not something you can prove. It's not something you can earn. You can't earn your purpose. You don't have to prove your purpose. It just is something that you are. And so follow your heart. It could be, your purpose might be to go and talk to the trees. And sometimes I think that's my purpose. People think
in your stilettos.
In my stilettos. No, seriously, I did that. Exactly. No, it happens. Believe me, it does happen. You know, it's about knowing that you are important. That's purpose. And you don't have to be important to somebody else. You have to be important to you. And I will tell you from my experience today, just today, and how I was seen and shown importance is true. Like, the only thing I've done differently in this relationship over my last relationship, and I did it at the end of my last relationship, but it was too far gone, but it really helped me to know I could do it. I could let somebody else be themselves, and I could be fully myself, no matter what their opinion, emotion, dictation was going on, and love them anyway. And that was the biggest gift that my ex-husband gave me. And now I have a new love, and it's so amazing how I show up as me. And sometimes me is crying. Sometimes me is totally boastful and laughing my head off, you know, like I show up how I am, and I allow him to show up how he is. And what that has done is allowed both of us to know that we're important, and it's allowed him to share with me that he feels I'm important, and vice versa. And if I didn't think that my mission, that my purpose, that my presence on this planet was important, not meaning like I'm the biggest star in the world or anything important.
Valid, right? That we're not self-important, but we're all uniquely gifted and valued.
Right, valuable.
We're worthy.
Right, yeah. You're valuable, you're worthy, you're important to the whole collective. Okay, like you are a piece of the puzzle. You are a piece of the puzzle. And if you lose one piece of the puzzle, then it sucks, right? Like the puzzle is like, where's the piece of the puzzle? Well, you're that really important piece, MaryJane.
And so for everyone to know that there's nothing small and insignificant about who they are or how they show up in the world, right. and that they're needed. Right? Yeah. So, you know, it's like, who are you not to be all of you in the world, because we need all of you to show up so that the next person can show up completely, and the next person, and we can create this, you know, this relationship with each other where there is permission and freedom to be ourselves, to fully express who we are, to be loved, to know that we're valuable, worthy, important, all those things. So I love that.
Yeah. And so the sixth piece, after you know that you are important, the sixth piece is to know that you have a relationship with the divine. And, you know, people call all different names and all different faiths and all different everything, but no matter what, at a cellular, molecular level, we're all the same. You know, no matter our color, size, shape, origin, religion, belief systems, whatever, we're all the same. And so have that knowingness that something miraculous happened, and have a relationship with that highest place within yourself. And for me, that's the Holy Spirit. For me, I know that the Holy Spirit lives inside of me. I have a direct relationship with Christ. He appeared to me when I was 13, and I just can't deny it. Like, I went home and I told, like he told me to, and everybody listened for the first time, and I told for years. You know, and everyone's like, you're a liar. And all of a sudden, everybody listens. That was quite transformational for me. And so, but another thing that I've learned on my journey as a yoga instructor and studying Shambhalism and meditation and working with people all over the world is it really is about this love and having a relationship that is beyond the scope of you, and allowing yourself this place of surrender so you don't have to worry about the how or really the what. You just have to tap into the now what? How am I to be? How am I to be?
And the pure potential of every expression that exists, and then we can download that, right? Yeah. So it's like if we don't know how love, if we don't know what love is, like you were saying, I don't have a clue what love is. I don't know. Yeah. I surrender. I'm open. Teach me. Show me love. Yeah. Show me what that looks like in me and others, so I can create a consciousness and show up to love in my life and invite love into my life.
Yeah. And then you're open to learn. Then you're open to experience the new things. Then you have a place to rest your faith. And you also have a place to give your worry, your anxiety, or all the stuff that we tend to hold on to and like carry around on our backs and get all hunched up and throw out our backs, and say, look, I can't carry this. I choose not to carry this. Will you carry this for me? And then will you show me the better way? Because you can see through this and I can't. And developing that relationship, and I say it last because it's really the foundation. We put it on the head of everything, and yes, it goes over, it's all encompassing, and it goes through each of those other phases, from our body to our business. But your relationship with the divine really is the foundation which you come to every day. I don't know a successful person that doesn't sit and meditate and ask for assistance. I haven't met a 7-figure, 8-figure friend who that's not their base. And I've met plenty of 7- and 8-figure friends, and it's crazy. And 8 figures being, $1 billion. And that's what they recommend. What's your biggest advice for me? Well, just meditate. Don't worry about it. Ask God what He wants you to do, and then do it. You have to do it. Have faith. Know what you want, and go after it. And don't worry about the how. Yeah, and don't worry about the how. One baby step.
The how shows up. The how shows up, and especially it's like the next right step shows up when you've done the other step. So you do the small step that you feel called to do at that time, and then you're called into the next step and the next step, and they create a momentum, and suddenly you find that you've arrived somewhere after 10, 12, 20, 100 steps, how many ever it takes, and then you take some more steps, right? And you start the next part of that journey. And what I really love, Antiqua, that you've shared, which I think people can derive so much encouragement, enthusiasm around growth, because I love when you said, like, you've already been in the hard stuff. You've already gone through it. You've endured it. You've survived it. It's the icky part. You don't have to open that Pandora box and relive all that pain again. And
you actually don't. That's going to keep you stuck and reliving, and your soul is like, blah.
It's another form of like hating and like putting more crap into the crap, right? And so I love that you've shared this incredible process of getting curious, right? And that we can even meet our prayers with that curiosity of like, can't wait to see how this is going to show up. Don't know how the hows are going to happen, right? Like, what's next? Like, this is cool, or this feels good, and just following, those feel-good actionable steps of following our heart and following our truth and being who we are, and knowing that that's enough to lead us to where we're supposed to be. And then, once we arrive, we're going to go into another place of being, right? We're going to be evolving into being all the time. But I love that. I mean, there's such a we can learn from pain, and a lot of us have learned from pain and suffering. And I remember a time when, like you, I had sexual abuse, I had physical abuse, I had, foster care, I had,
Yeah.
lots of craziness going on, and then not so great relationships, and then some good ones, right? Some good choices along the way. And I remember a point when I said, I don't want to learn from suffering anymore. Like, I know that backwards and
Yeah.
forwards. And
And
suffering is
not.
making me a crappy friend and a crappy coach and a crappy whatever, because I can't show up the best of me when I'm in my own suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So
No.
how do I get to that place of joy and bliss? And I feel like you've given some really great breakthroughs of, like, here's the path to acceptance that moves us out of self-judgment, that gets us into a place of curiosity, of surrender, of openness, of self-expression, of freedom, and in our joy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Until we get to acceptance, if we're fighting it to change it, well, one, it happened, and it is, or else we wouldn't be fighting it. Yeah. Whether somebody lied about you or not, like, the lie about you happened, even if it was a lie, So you can't change that, and that's what you're really arguing against. So might as well accept it as it happened. And then from there you can go, now how do I wish to proceed? You can take your power back. How do I want to show up for me? What do I want to feel in your vibration? How do I want to write my own story about this? How do I want to show up in a relationship around this? And how am I going to use this in my business, or not my business, or is it any of my business? Like, and then you can take the whole thing to God.
You carry that.
Please and thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you answered it in some ways, but, in sort of a quickie review, or maybe there's another piece that's added to that. You have to know that you're worthy to kind of step into the big gal shoes, is what I like to call them. But you have to get in that place where you trust yourself, where you believe in yourself, where you feel that deep connection with your own purpose, your own mission, your own direction, your own service to the world. What supports you to do that, and how can the listeners also benefit from that awareness?
Yeah. Well, one thing that has helped me trust myself a lot is the dancing and the music and the expression. Because when I allow myself to feel the negative vibes too, the anger, the frustration, all the things that I'm scared of feeling on my own, and so I avoided them, because I might cry for 4 days and never stop crying. I'm going to hear that all the time. Once I've allowed myself to do that, it's that acceptance, and then I'm like, oh, I can handle that. Like, I can do that. And the same goes for love and joy. Like, now I am definitely at an expanded point when it comes to receiving love and feeling love. Like, I am getting pushed, and it's scary, because I've known hate, I've known abuse, I've known betrayal. I haven't known commitment. I haven't known security. I haven't known love. So it's like, weird. This is weird. I know it's going to be okay, but whoa, okay. What if he drops me? Like, it's like, so on the upscale of all of that, like, you can dive into those sappy love tunes, you can dive into all of that stuff and start allowing yourself to kind of play with, how would this feel like? What does it feel like? You want more wealth in your life. How does that feel? To own your worth, to own your value, to replay your father's story in a really positive, beautiful light. How would you want your story to be, and how could you start treating yourself as if that was your story, while accepting that it wasn't? Yeah. So that's one way. The other piece that really helps you take your power back is looking out and seeking out a coach. And I say a coach rather than a therapist, only if you don't need to dive into your story and figure out what even happened. There's a place and an importance for what happened and stuff. But if you're asking why it happened, then it's time to move out, and because we'll never know why. I'll tell you, we'll never know why.
It's a looping question.
It's a looping question that keeps you stuck. So if you're ready to stop asking why and to learn that piece of acceptance, a coach is a person that, if properly trained, leads you into the forward. It helps you forward think, helps you spend things in a perspective that's going to work for you rather than keep you stuck and work against you. It's less digging around in the dirt and more, how do you want to create your life? And so if it's around love, hiring somebody like MaryJane, if it's around looking at these aspects of yourself, hiring me and walking through the Divine in 9 course with me, a 90-day course that I have, where I work with people one-on-one, or hiring somebody around business that help you look at your money story, that will help you look at who you are. And that's why I've put the community together at YourOwnUniversity.org, where people can go and look for a coach in any one of these 6 areas that I've spoke on today, and find really good coaches that we're interviewing ourselves. They all have great reputations. They walk their talk, and check them out. You know, have some discovery calls, get to know them, meet them, hire them, invest in yourself, so you can learn these new traits. And they'll put together tools. You know, I have a whole tool bag full of tapping and jolting and jumping and hopping and meditations and deep transformations, and you know, like, we have tools. We have tools that go beyond what we can talk about in an hour interview, and that will take you from point A to point B where you want to be a lot easier, a lot faster, and so you don't have to struggle. Because most of us that are life transformation coaches, the ones that I want to love and support and say yes to and promote in your life, is most of us have been there, done that. And we crossed that bridge, and we fell through the cracks, and we picked ourselves up, and we wiped ourselves off, and we were like, I just wish somebody was here for me. I just wish I wasn't alone. I wish somebody was here for me. And so when we got to the other side, we look back and we go, crap, I don't care. I'm going to be there. If she's going through it, I'm there for her. I'm there for you. And we're die hard, and we know where to step. And I mean, we've graduated from our own universities.
Yeah. I took that long, hard road to love, right? And so you don't have to do that. You don't have to take the hard road. It sucks.
Right. It sucks. And you don't have to do it. You know, but it is like college. It is an investment in yourself to work with elite coaches and people that do a good job. I mean, we value ourselves. So think about that and think, well, you know, I paid $30,000 per semester for college, and I don't really use that paper. So I can spend $5 on myself right now, because you're worth it. And so shifting that mindset on your own worth is really important, I think, when you're hiring a coach. And that's just a value thing that I think a lot of people who are seeking to love themselves, we devalue ourselves, and then, we can't invest because, but we'll go out and buy a car, and quite frankly, you're going to be much happier. Or a vacation
that you go for.
It's really like a 2-week vacation someplace, you know, by yourself without your family, because it's going to be a lot more if you take your family. Yeah. But you're saying, I love myself that much, and that in itself, that investment in yourself, especially when you find the right coach, is going to rock your world, and it will be quick. And that's what I did. I've invested in coaches in all of the areas of my life. I've invested tens of thousands of dollars in body coaches and yoga instructing and all of that. I mean, tens of thousands of dollars. I don't even want to add up that. That's just ridiculous.
I'm not totally
I'm like, I don't want to go there. But mindset coaching, it was mindset. I've gone to workshops after workshops and meditation retreats and silent retreats and control your mind stuff for years. I mean, 20 years. For vibration, I've been studying with Carolyn Mason such years of money and marketing and different chakra workshops and teaching stuff, years, tons of money. And then, you know, relationships, all the counseling and marriage counseling and who's a husband and why is a husband and how to be a wife and blah, blah, blah. I mean, thousands of dollars at least there. In business, we don't even want to get there. Oh my.
Oh yeah.
hundreds with business coaches, all and masterminds, all worth it. and then college on top of all of that. So investing in yourself, I think, it automatically increases your worth. And if you want to find a coach, I know MaryJane, all the women on this summit, and do you have a man? Is there a bonus man?
I have Mary Selby's.
Yeah. I was like, there's a bonus man in there with us.
There is a token man. I love how you said that, by the way. He's got a great sense of humor.
So, so we're here. You can absolutely reach out to me, and then Your Own Universtiy. That's why I brought that together, and hopefully all the coaches on this summit will listen and be like, oh, I want to do that. I want to be listed in the directory there, because it's a place that I want everybody to be able to go and find these coaches that have been there, done that, and are honestly walking their talk, like MaryJane, like myself.
Blanca.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you have a beautiful free gift for everybody, and I want to make sure that they have access to that as they check you out and delve a little bit more deeper into your delicious loveliness. And I love the title of it. I think it's awesome. It's so playful and fun. And with self-growth and self-love can be playful. Let's make it that way, and blissful. So it's www.yourownuniversity.org/worthy-rockin'. So rock and then IN. Rockin'. So
rockin'.
Rockin'.
I can't spell it out, rocking. That would be like a rocking chair, No, yeah, rocking.
We're not thinking geriatrics here. We're thinking rockin'. Yeah, like the dance party we're all gonna have now that we've listened to your talk.
Exactly. So the whole title is Broken to Worthy and Rockin'. And we're going to talk a little bit, we're going to go deeper into these 6 facets. I'm going to give you tips and tools on how to fall in love with them, talk about Divine in 9, and that's my personal program. And we're going to talk a little bit about Rising Star, which is a program put together for people who have crossed the bridge and are ready to really take their message and do something with it. Because at Your Own Universtiy, I team up with people to help them write books, put together radio shows, TV shows, and put together programs if they don't already have them. And then we friggin' promote you, and we hook you up with all the other awesome coaches, and we're a community, because I really believe that no star shines alone. I really believe that when one of us succeeds, we all succeed. And I also know that collaboration is where magic happens, and it takes all of us to really change the world. And so it's going to happen together. And so I want to be a part of that.
Lovely. And I love what you do, just giving people that place, that freedom, the resources, the tools, the connection, the community, to really shine.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. So last parting words. I think you might say dancing or singing. That's definitely like my favorite self-care. And by the way, I'm curious because I want to share and I want to hear from you, like what your favorite like empowering song is. So mine is Jessie J. Wild. She's like, can't believe that this is my dream. It totally happened. It's like, thank you. She's just totally in the state of like gratitude and like, I can't believe this is my life. And every time I listen to it, I'm just like, whoa, like, yeah, you're fabulous, and I'm fabulous. This is so cool, and I just get into that state. So, like, what's your, like, juicy favorite empowering, at least one of them, one of your favorite songs?
Yeah, you know what? I have to say right now I'm absolutely stuck on a song called Shine On. It's by the Bleeding Keys. You can go listen to it at bleedingkeys.com. But it literally was written by Jeremy Johnson, who is, our kids were born on the same day. He doesn't live up here anymore. He's a big old star down in Tri-Cities or something like that. I don't know. He's down there. But anyway, he kind of wrote it for me. But it is the message. Just be comfortable in your skin. Nobody can do it like you can do it. Like you just rock it out. And it's called Shine On. And it's the beginning of my radio show Shine too, as I'm using it now. So that one I get up and I dance to every day. And then Alanis Morissette, Citizen of the Planet, Edge of Evolution, yeah, she gets me. She gets me pretty big, like, or I get her, I don't know.
Yeah, can I also...
She doesn't get me because she doesn't even know me, but I get her because I know her music.
Me. I love it. And I love Katy Perry's Unconditionally, right? So I'm gonna
Yeah,
love you unconditionally. And I always
unconditional.
think of like me, my baby, the people that I
I have
love in my
to.
world, my clients, just like I'm gonna love you unconditionally. Like let's just rock that out of the house, right?
I have
Like
to. I have to look at my playlist here. Hold on. I can tell you what's really, really happening down in the woods here. Um, what have I been listening to a ton besides Shine On? Oh, Read All About It. Amelia Sade. Is that how you say it? Amelia Sade. I love that song too.
oh, good.
I love that song too. Anyway, there's so many. I mean,
So
there's
many. But I think we're gonna
so
be
many.
inspired to make our mixtape now, right?
Right. I mean, you go through and you're just like, yes. And then every day I listen to I Want to Be a Billionaire.
With the explicits and everything.
Yes, I do. Unless my kids are around, then I do
Yeah.
Kids Bop version. I do have Kids Bop version.
Aye, perfect. So, favorite self-love practice as parting words.
You know what? This is weird, and I probably should have explained this, but Tara Marino gave it to me, and it's actually picking out my underwear every day.
I love it. Because for you, that's that statement of I'm going to be me, and whatever I feel like I want to wear is what I'm going to wear today.
Yeah, and I have a whole bunch of different kinds now, and nobody gets. It's just between me and me. Nobody gets to see it but me, unless I invite somebody to see it. But it's usually just me. So it's a very precious, really fun self-love expression. I get to really feel into who I want to be, how I want to show up, ask myself all those powerful questions we went over, and express it.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Antiqua. Your wisdom and your grace, and just the lightness that's around you as well. And thank you for your gift in the world because we need your voice, right? And so thank you for empowering other people to find their voice and express it as well. I think it's beautiful. It's a wonderful pay it forward.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been wonderful to be here. It's great to meet all of you all, and enjoy the rest of the summit.
So on behalf of myself, MaryJane Captine, and the very powerful and conscious Antiqua, I thank you so much for listening and deepening into this conversation of how self-love can lead to soul love, and soul love of all aspects and kinds, including all the way to the divine. I'm so excited to connect with you again in our next expert interview. And in the meantime, please remember, you are worthy, you are beautiful, and you are lovable.